update on the last few months of presentations I've done, about where we are right now and the recent rally that we've had just over the last few weeks. This is the chart that we had right at the last meeting. It was early October, and we've got 4 windows of opportunity for a market top. The red boxes 1, 2, 3, 4. We know that box number 1 in July, once we got the September high, that wasn't a possibility. So we're now focusing on boxes 2 and 3. These boxes, these windows of opportunity, they're usually about 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks across. They are calculated mathematically using probability, and they're based on activity that happened in the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq in Q4 last year, and they're also based on what happened to the Dow Jones in June this year. And you'll see on the chart in June there was a specific top signal that told me in the next few weeks and months there would be a top in the market. It's a pretty reliable signal. It's happened 21 times over the last 130 years since the beginning of the Dow, and I'm seeing that as a pretty good sign we're going to see a top in the next few weeks and months. So we're concentrating on windows 2 and 3. So let's look at what happened since the last meeting. We now have the markets with a very steep rally coming up from the lows in October, and that's looking like it could be a top. It's in window 2. If you're thinking about getting out of the market, now might be a point to think about, because it's the highest point in history. But one of the things I'm picking up from some of the other signals I look at is this is possibly not the top. There's a slightly higher chance the top will be at year end. The economic climate at the moment is not bad, earnings are okay. There's a good chance the market can keep pushing forward to year end, maybe even into early January, and I think the market's aiming for about 18,000. That's only about 500 points above where we are now in the Dow, and if you look back at last year, the Dow climbed 1,000 points from the end of October to end of December. So in those 2 months last year, it climbed 1,000 points. It only has to climb 500 points to get to 18,000 this year. So I think it's a good chance it will. Let me look finally then at the signals I'm getting that tell me that there's a slightly higher probability of the year end being around the top rather than right now. Looking at top signals for the September top, we only had one signal, so that's what told me that September probably wasn't the top. It was a high, it was significant, but there would be a higher high beyond it, and we've seen that in October. If we move forward then, look at the recent top now in October, look at the signals I'm getting. There are 16 signals that I look at. We're now, with the 5 red arrows, you can see we've got 5. I would want to see 8, 9 or 10 to be signaling that a top is here, a significant top in the market. So these 5 is good, it's telling me we're getting close, but we're not quite there yet. The maximum I can get is 14 signals, because 3 of them are mutually exclusive, so I can't get a total of 16, but I can certainly get a total of 14. But I think 8, 9 or 10 signals would be enough for me to say, yes, we've reached the top. There are 5 signals here, still no, they're circled in blue. I would like to see the majority of those turn to yes before I say, yes, we've got a top. And the one final one, number 4, which is a particular method that I've developed myself. It looks at rhythms and patterns in the market and where the trajectory of the market is aiming at. I would normally want to see a percentage of slightly greater than 87%, and that occurs reliably near a top of the market. So I'm looking at that happening. It hasn't happened yet, but once that happens, then that will be another yes. And if we're getting 8 or 9 or 10 yeses, then we're getting close to the top of the market. So that's really it. I think we are very close now. We're in the window number 2, so there's a good chance that we're close to the top. I still think there's a slightly higher probability we'll move to window 3. We'll get a year-end rally, a Santa rally, and a high year-end. We might even go into early January like we did in year 2000. So if you're thinking about selling and you can push your tax obligations off to the year after, you might want to sell in the first few days of January. But I still think that what we're looking at is something like a year-end rally. Thank you very much.